Hey, good evening, guys. Thanks for taking time out to attend this session. Okay, just give me a moment. Hey, good evening once again, guys. I'm sorry there was some technical glitch. Firstly, thank you all for taking out time to attend this session. Okay, as I was just listening, Mr. Nayak was saying that he's in the industry for 2018, would like to have some more insights to make informed decisions. I think everyone here would like to have some kind of data points uh, to make some informed decisions. So, as we are conducting, this is the second webinar of the week. Okay, Access Research. Okay, Access Securities Research. Of recent, we've started working more on the quantitative side of getting out data, putting out reports, so that if it is so that the investors or the traders can make more informed decisions based on data, historic data. Okay, guys, I hope I'm audible and my screen is visible to you all. What you all can see on the screen is a weekly sector seasonality. That is what the first page says, right? So, can you all see that? Just type in the chat, please. Guys, is it audible? Can you guys hear me? Can somebody type in the chat if I'm audible enough? Okay, Anandan, I've got your message. I assume that everyone is able to see the screen. Okay, so as the report says, it's a weekly seasonality, sector seasonality. Okay, what do we mean by that? We're going to talk about the different 12 different sectors in Nifty, which are kind of the prime movers for the market. Okay, why seasonality? What is this report all about? So, markets, what we've observed, show some kind of cyclicality. Okay, it could be a month wise, day wise, week wise. There are different kind of parameters into it. We've picked up and tried to find out if there is any kind of seasonality on the sectors. Okay, based on the sectors of Nifty. We've gone back 10 years of data. So effectively starting of 2014 to end of to 2024 onwards till 2024, we've tried to find out if any particular sector on a particular week of the year is doing better. Is there any trend in the sectors? Particular sectors doing bad in a particular week. So this report is for week number 34, right? What you see here is a different tree maps. We call it as the heat map for the sectors. My colleague Karan would take it up and explain to you in a better manner as to what exactly is this visual all about. How do you read this report and how could this help you out?
Yeah. Thank you, Ashish. Welcome all to our webinar, wherein we try and explain what we mean when we publish certain reports. And I we would be conducting this in a mixture of Hindi and English. सबका हमारे वेबिनार में स्वागत है. सो द फर्स्ट थिंग, जो सबसे पहली चीज है जो मैं इसमें हाईलाइट करना चाहता हूँ, दैट इज द सेकेंड स्लाइड. ऑफ कोर्स आपने ये रिपोर्ट जब भी ओपन किया होगा, यू विल कम अक्रॉस सीजनैलिटी. ये जो वर्ड है, ये बहुत शायद हो सकता है कि कुछ लोग ये फर्स्ट टाइम सुन रहे हैं. बट देन अगर आप किसी भी एनालिस्ट को पूछोगे तो उनका एक रिस्पॉन्स होता है कि एक पर्टिकुलर प्राइस पैटर्न या एक पर्टिकुलर मूवमेंट का कोई एक पैटर्न हम लोग ऑब्जर्व करते हैं. करेक्ट. सो वो हो सकता है बिकॉज ऑफ XYZ रीजन हो, या कोई एक वीक के वजह से कोई एक पर्टिकुलर वीक में एक पर्टिकुलर पैटर्न हो, कोई एक पर्टिकुलर मंथ में कोई एक पैटर्न हो, बिकॉज ऑफ XYZ रीजन, बट वो एक पैटर्न होता है. सो वी जस्ट गो बैक. ये रिपोर्ट में हम लोग पिछले 10 साल में एक पर्टिकुलर वीक में क्या हुआ है वो हम लोग ट्राई बताने की आपको कोशिश करते हैं. अभी ये जो विन परसेंटेज है, बेस्ट वर्स्ट एवरेज, ये क्या होता है, रिलेटिव स्ट्रेंथ, ये क्या होता है, हम लोग आपको एज एंड व्हेन वी रीड द रिपोर्ट हम लोग आपको समझाएंगे. मैं बस फर्स्ट पार्ट में जाता हूं जहां पर हम लोगों ने मेंशन किया है सेक्टर हिस्टोरिकल परफॉर्मेंस. नाउ अगर आप चार्ट देखने से पहले अगर आप थोड़ा नीचे जूम इन करोगे, ये जहां पर मैं बता रहा हूं आपको, यहाँ पे हम लोगों ने मेंशन किया है कि इसको रीड कैसे करते हैं। अगर आप ये चार्ट देखोगे, आपको दिखाई देगा कि अलग अलग साइजेस के बॉक्सेस हैं, करेक्ट, एंड उनको एक कलर कोडिंग भी दिया हुआ है। सो कलर कोडिंग जो है वो ग्रीन और रेड के बीच में ग्रेडियंट होते रहता है बेस्ड ऑन सम पैरामीटर दैट हैज बीन सेट। अब वो पैरामीटर क्या है वो देखने के लिए हम लोगों ने नीचे लिखा है यहाँ पे कि कलर, the darker the green, the darker the red, if the average return of the week is very positive or very negative। मतलब अगर ज्यादा एवरेज रिटर्न जो है मेरा, अगर जितना ज्यादा पॉजिटिव होगा उतना डार्कर ग्रीन शेड होगा, एंड वाइस वर्सा कि जितना ज्यादा नेगेटिव होगा उतना डार्कर रेड शेड होगा। एंड बीच में का जो भी है इट विल बी अ मिक्सचर ऑफ ग्रीन एंड रेड। सो वो जो कलर का combination आप देख रहे हो, that is basically gradient। The darker green means higher the positive return, darker red means higher the negative return। एंड देन आते हैं हम लोग ब्लॉक साइज पे। अगर आपने ये चार्ट ऑब्जर्व किया होगा तो आई होप सब लोगों ने ये रिपोर्ट जो है हमारा देखा है, उनको यू हैव गॉन थ्रू इट। सो अगर आप नहीं, इफ यू हैव मिस्ड दिस रिपोर्ट, देन वी जस्ट पुट इन द लिंक इन द चैट बॉक्स, वहां से आप इसको डाउनलोड कर सकते हो, एंड यू कैन बी एट पार विथ, यू कैन बी, वी ऑल कैन बी ऑन द सेम पेज। सो अब हम आते हैं टुवर्ड्स ब्लॉक साइज। ब्लॉक साइज मतलब अभी फॉर एग्जांपल जो जो यहाँ पे ऑन द लेफ्ट हैंड साइड है, द टॉप लेफ्ट साइड में है, दैट इज मीडिया, करेक्ट। सो अगर मैं मीडिया को देखूं, मुझे अंदर बेस्ट विन परसेंटेज दिखाई दे रहा है, विन परसेंटेज दिखाई दे रहा है, बेस्ट परसेंटेज, बेस्ट वैल्यू दिख रहा है, वर्स्ट वैल्यू दिख रहा है, एंड देन देयर इज समथिंग कॉल्ड एज एवरेज। एंड देन अगर आप देखोगे कि मीडिया और एफएमसीजी का जो ब्लॉक साइज है वो डिफरेंट है। नाउ दिस इज बिकॉज ब्लॉक साइज, जितना ज्यादा हम लोग का विन परसेंटेज होगा उतना बड़ा ब्लॉक होगा, एंड वाइस वर्सा। सो ब्लॉक, अगर आप नीचे एग्जैक्ट वर्ड्स में पढ़ोगे, ब्लॉक इज लार्ज और स्मॉल इफ द विन परसेंटेज इज हाई और लो, करेक्ट। सो ये हम लोग कैसे डिटरमाइन करते हैं कि वेदर द ब्लॉक इज लार्ज और स्मॉल। जैसे आशीष ने आपको एक्सप्लेन किया कि हम लोग पिछले 10 साल का इसमें से हम लोग डेटा निकाल रहे हैं। So we go back all the way to 2014 and calculate we look at the data, we observe the patterns, and हम लोग देखते हैं कि इसमें कितने वीक्स है जो पिछले 10 सालों में, जो जितने भी हम लोगों ने वीक्स इसमें देखे हैं उसमें कितने से सक्सेसफुल रहे हैं, करेक्ट, एंड कितने अनसक्सेसफुल रहे हैं, या टोटल नंबर से हम लोग उसको डिवाइड करते हैं। सिंपल हिट रेट मतलब अगर मैं 10 साल का डेटा देख रहा हूँ, मेरे पास 10 डेटा पॉइंट्स हैं, करेक्ट, उसमें से मैं चेक करता हूँ कि कितने पॉजिटिव रहे हैं, कितने नेगेटिव रहे, एंड देन जो विन परसेंटेज है इट इज बेसिकली अ परसेंटेज ऑफ द टोटल पॉजिटिव डेटा। नाउ आई वुड वांट
just adding to what Karan said, जो Karan बोल रहा है कि let's say you were talking about pharma, right, Karan, or metals he's talking about metals, let's say block size is 50%। तो 50% व्हाट डज इट से, पिछले 10 साल में वीक नंबर 34 में अगर मैं मेटल सेक्टर्स में लॉन्ग गया रहता, आई वुड हैव बीन लॉन्ग ऑन द मेटल सेक्टर या मेटल सेक्टर्स के स्टॉक बाई किया रहता, उन 10 में से 5 बार आई वुड हैव हैड अ पॉजिटिव रिटर्न और 5 बार द रिटर्न्स वुड हैव बीन नेगेटिव। दैट इज व्हाट इज द विन रेट, राइट करण?
यस यस एब्सोल्युटली राइट। सो यहां तक किसी को कुछ क्वेरी है, कुछ पूछना है? Put it in the chat box. Those who are connected via WebEx, put it in the chat box.
Guys, any doubts, any queries till this part, please put it in the chat box. I don't see anything coming up in the chat box. I assume that there are no queries as of now. Karan, continue please.
Yeah. So I would, before going ahead, मैं एक सिंपल सा सवाल पूछना चाहता हूँ, now that nobody has a query. So pharma sector अगर आप देख सकते हो, could you just give a brief about what we want to convey? Just if you could type in the chat box. See, we go through a lot of data crunching to make sure that we come up with all this data. So we really want the user, the end user, that is you guys, to understand what we are doing, understand why we are doing it. Okay, so इसीलिए हम लोग के ये वेबिनार से जो भी efforts है, we just want them to be received properly. सो आपको अगर कुछ क्वेरी है, कुछ आपको बोलना है, जस्ट पुट इट इन द चैट बॉक्स. या
Yeah, Mr. Nayak, as you asked, how many years? As we said in the beginning, this is considering last 10 years of data, right? So last 10 years, so that is data from 2014 till the end of 2023. That's 10 years, including 2014. Right, so I'll just continue to where Karan left. As he said, he explained to you about the win percentage, which is about 50%. So I'm just referring to metals right now. So it says that 5 में से 10 बार हम metals में positive रहे. And when we were positive, okay, जब हमने positive किया तो सबसे highest return क्या मिला हमको? That shows the best return. So on week on that particular week, we made 2.6% on metal stocks. Metals as a sector as a whole. Okay, and when we were wrong, when it was negative, what was the worst return? That was minus 6.4. And the average of all the positive and the negative returns over the last 10 years has been minus 2.1%. Dilip, you didn't quite get the boxes. Can you be a bit more specific on what exactly is it? Okay, so I was coming to the average return. I'll Dilip put in your query in that. In the meanwhile, I'll get back to you. Let me just continue with this. The average is the total average of the last 10 years, positive, negative, everything put together. What has been the average return? So it shows that metals have not performed that great. But the average return, in spite of having a hit percentage or hit ratio of 50%, the average return has been minus 2.1%. So that means, just to give you an understanding, that means that whenever we have lost on Nifty metals on week 34, in week 34, we've lost higher as compared to the positive returns. And that's the reason the average return is coming as negative. Karan?
या सो अभी बहुत लोगों को ये क्वेरी भी होगी कि व्हाई वी आर सेलेक्टिंग ओनली द पास्ट 10 इयर्स डेटा फॉर हम लोग 2014 से क्यों डेटा लें. सो ये पिछले 10 सालों में you have seen ups and downs, you have seen elections, you have seen war, you have seen a pandemic which is a black swan event. ब्लैक स्वान इवेंट मतलब ये वंस इन अ लाइफ टाइम होता है ये सब इवेंट्स. सो ये 10 सालों के डेटा में हम लोग सारे ही इवेंट्स इसमें जितने पॉसिबल है फिलहाल एटलीस्ट टिल नाउ वो हम लोग इसमें कवर कर पा रहे हैं. सो दैट इज वन ऑफ द रीजंस व्हाई वी आर लुकिंग एट ओनली 10 years ऑफ डेटा. एंड अगर इसमें सी अनदर थिंग इज इफ यू डिग अ लॉट मोर डीपर देर आर स्लाइट पॉसिबिलिटीज दैट you are doing too much analysis or या analysis paralysis होने का भी chance है. So because we are in a comfortable zone, we have selected the data of the past 10 years. Now we move on to something called as sector relative. So sector relative हम लोग को basically ये बताता है कि सबसे पहले अगर मैं देखूँ तो sector relative जब भी हम लोग बोलते हैं we relate it with Nifty. करेक्ट. सो जब भी हम लोग फाइनेंशियल सर्विसेज की बात करते हैं सो बेसिकली वी सी हाउ द फाइनेंशियल सर्विसेज हैज फेयर्ड अगेंस्ट निफ्टी. मतलब अगर से फॉर एग्जांपल ये हुआ कि टुडे इज फ्राइडे एंड वी हैव सीन दैट 0.5% जो है निफ्टी पॉजिटिव क्लोज हुआ है. करेक्ट. एंड एट द सेम टाइम फाइनेंशियल सर्विसेज 1% पॉजिटिव क्लोज हुआ है. सो मतलब द फाइनेंशियल सर्विसेज सेक्टर हैज डन मच बेटर व्हेन इट कम्स टू रिलेटिव परफॉर्मेंस व्हेन कंपेयर्ड टू निफ्टी. करेक्ट. एंड लेट अस से वाइस वर्सा, से फॉर एग्जांपल रियल्टी जहां पे हम लोग का निफ्टी हैज एंडेड 0.5% एंड रियल्टी से माइनस 0.1. मतलब रियल्टी हैज अंडर परफॉर्म. So that is what we look at when we look at the relative performance. Correct. So what we have done is we have taken the data of relative performance again of the past 10 years and we have gone through a tremendous amount of data crunching to see how this relative data has done in a particular week. Now we are mentioning week number 34 because as हम लोग सबको पता है कि there are 52 weeks in a year. So we are currently in week number 34. So मतलब now we'll be going into week number 35. But currently we are in week number 34. So we know कि going back we have to look at a particular week and then we have to see how the sector or the relative performance has been. So इसमें भी again the logic is the same. If you just go down and if you just zoom in into the
Bottom of the
bottom of the slide, आपको अगेन वही लॉजिक दिखाई देगा. अगेन कलर इट डिपेंड्स ऑन द एवरेज रिटर्न्स एंड द ब्लॉक साइज डिपेंड्स ऑन द विन परसेंटेज. So again, the logic behind this, Ashish, just explain how you would read this chart.
So,
As
so,
a
so
layman.
similar to, let's say, if I see that FMCG has got a very big block, it has got a very big, it's got a very dark shade of green. Before I proceed, Ramdas, right? Ramdas, I see that you asked if it is, yeah, you have got it right. It is comparing the data of the last 10 years for week number 34 only, right? So I'll just continue. Yeah, just a minute.
So
Aditya?
we are also live on YouTube, and Sam Minaj just asked us to kindly share the PDF of the report. Sure, Sam, we'll be adding the link to the description of this video when your content ends. Thank you.
Guys, thank you for bearing with us. I'm getting back to how would I, as a trader or an investor, read this report. Okay. Now, this is the relative sector. What I see is FMCG has got one of the biggest boxes and the darkest shade of green, right? So that shows that FMCG has a win ratio of 60% relative to Nifty's performance, right? So 6 out of 10 times in the last 10 years, FMCG was positive. It does when we've gone long the FMCG sector, it has been positive. Sorry. And next, what it shows is the best return. So when it was positive, the best return has been 5.6%. The worst has been minus 1.8%. And the average return over the last 10 years, including all the positive and the negative returns, has been 0.7%. Right. So as I said, it has got the higher, biggest box size because the win percentage is comparatively higher to others, and also the win percentage, the average percentage is higher as compared to the other sectors, right? So this is how we would look at the sectors on a standalone basis, as well as relative to how Nifty is performed in week number 32 over the last 10 years, week number 34 over the last 10 years. Next, coming to the bottom of the next page, okay, where you see the weekly performance. So the top sectors, what we see here in the second page, that is only the standalone sectors, the best performing sectors per se overall. So everything has been negative, but the best performing sector has been kind of media and banks with a higher win percentage. Though negative average returns, the higher win percentage. So we've taken those top two sectors of media and bank. And in week number 33, at the close of week number 33, uh, minded guys, this is the report comparing week number 34, but for the weekly performance, it's how these particular stocks have fared in the current week. It's just the weekly performance as on a close to close. So from a Friday close to a Friday close, what has been the stock performance? So you see the best performing stocks were Saregama Industries and with the worst being Sun TV Network. On the banking sector, we see the best performing in the week has been Federal Bank and the worst being Bandhan Bank. Right? So this is a brief about how would you go about with this report. Right, Karan? Would you?
Yeah. सो जैसे आशीष ने एक्सप्लेन किया कि ऊपर के जो हमारे सेकंड स्लाइड में जो है उसमें से हमें पता चल रहा है कि द विन परसेंटेज जो है हमारा दैट इज हाईएस्ट इन मीडिया एंड बैंक्स. करेक्ट. सो यहाँ पर द प्रोबेबिलिटी ऑफ अस मेकिंग being right by going long in media and banks is much higher. So that becomes मतलब वो जो दो सेक्टर्स हैं वो होते हैं our relatively stronger sectors for the week number 34. अभी ये जो रिपोर्ट बनता है ये बना था वीक नंबर 33 के फ्राइडे को. करेक्ट. सो ये जितने भी सेक्टर कॉन्स्टिट्यूएंट्स है जैसे हम लोगों ने हमारे मूविंग एवरेज डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन के इसमें भी बताया था. अगर आपको सेक्टर कॉन्स्टिट्यूएंट्स आपको देखने हैं ऑल यू हैव टू डू इज गो टू एनएसई इंडिया. जैसे मैं आई एम जस्ट going to NSE India and I click on view all indices. Now I'm of course because our time we have a time constraint. I'm not going to look at any particular sector. जो मुझे first sector दिख रहा है okay that is fortunately banks in this case. Correct. यही ये जो है ये हमारे sector के components हैं. Correct. There is Bandhan Bank, AU Bank, IDFC Bank, and I'm pretty sure that most of you know how to navigate through the NSE India website. But ये हैं हमारे sector components. Correct. So this is how we make sure that the sector components, I mean, it's not we who make sure that the sector components are selected, but this is how we get the sector components. We get it from NSE website. एंड देन वीक नंबर 33 में इन्होंने कैसे परफॉर्म किया, मतलब ये जो है ये रिपोर्ट वैलिड करंट वीक के लिए है. सो पिछले हफ्ते के फ्राइडे तक वीकली गेन्स क्या थे, बिकॉज द सिंपल लॉजिक इज जिसमें मोमेंटम बिल्डअप है एंड मुझे लग रहा है कि द सेक्टर इज गोइंग टू बिल्ड अप मोमेंटम, सो मोमेंटम जो है वो कंटिन्यू होगा. सो दिस and I'll hand it over to Ashish for further explanation.
There are two ways of looking at it, guys. There are two ways. Some would be wanting to be trend followers, some contrarian traders. Each one has his own way of looking at it. So let's say somebody who says that I would just look at momentum stocks and they say that media and bank is the best performing. They'll say for this week, I would consider the top performing stocks and I'll continue with that for the next week. Somebody says, okay, the most underperforming stocks, I would want to take them as the stocks into my portfolio for the next week. So there are various ways of looking at it. We've just given you an idea of how the stocks have performed in the week before the analysis, right?
Sure. Now, Karan, let's discuss how this report can help me as an investor to means get a view of the coming week ahead, and how can I get a direction and use this report to my advantage.
So as Aditya we said, so this is a weekly analysis, right? So this analysis is valid for the week. So let's say if I want to take up something for the week and I'm not sure which sector would perform, which sector would not perform, here is when I come to the first page. Okay, that is page number 3. Okay, the first tree map, and I'll see, okay, which sector has got the highest winning ratio in this particular upcoming week, right? As we said, it is media and banks. So I know that in the last 10 years, these two sectors have a higher win ratio. So media out of 7 out of 10 times has been performing. So I would look out for only those sectors which are performing in the upcoming week. So that is one way of looking at it. Some might want to go into the sectors which are underperforming. But this report has been generated considering, okay, this has been happening the last 10 years, and there is a higher chance of probability or a higher probability of this repeating in the same week in this coming year. Right? As we know, that markets are all about probabilities and possibilities. So we cannot say for sure, but it's just a probability. Aditya, I hope I've answered your question.
Yes, thanks, Ashish.
So, guys, this is a gist of how the report has to be looked into, how this could help you make certain decisions with regards to your portfolio, with regards to entering a new position into a sector, various other things. And as I said, this is a part of the continuing education of getting out more reports by Axis Securities, which will be driven by data. More quantitative analysis, more data driven reports would be produced. So this is the second of those reports. While the first one that we done is on Monday, you could go to the YouTube channel, you have a link there as well. That is giving the market breadth using moving averages, right? So this is for about the report. If you have any doubts, please feel free to put it up on the chat box. I'm sorry I would not be able to unmute it just to avoid the confusion. Everyone speaking at the same time would lead to a lot of confusion. Rather, please type in your queries.
सो व्हाट आई वुड सजेस्ट इज गाइस, वी गो थ्रू, हम लोग ये रिपोर्ट प्रिपेयर करने के लिए बहुत सारा डेटा क्रंचिंग करते हैं, एंड वी जस्ट वांट टू मेक श्योर दैट the message that we want to deliver is delivered correct. We just want to make sure that you people are getting the gist of the report with which we prepare it. So please feel free, please ask questions.
Yeah, Ramdas, you were asking where do you get these reports regularly? These reports are sent across on Saturday mornings to all our clients via email. You would receive a report from the marketing team, right? You receive a report from Access marketing team on every Saturday. This is slotted to be released at about 10:30 in the morning. Right, Aditya?
Yes, and we were just saying, Mr. Varinder, you were trying to say something. Can you please put that in the chat so that we can answer?
Guys, I'm not getting any more questions. I have it open for another 2 minutes. Uh, After that, we assume that, yeah, Anandan, this report is published every week. Okay. If not, is also a part of the Access research. So any which ways, post we were there on YouTube Live. Post this, we would be pasting the link on the YouTube Live link, YouTube Live as well. And this report is, yes, this is scheduled to be regularly released every single week. Any more question, guys? Guys, assume there are no more questions. If there are any more questions, feel okay. There is one. So this report, Bidu, basically says what has been the upcoming week's performance historically and what expectations could be built up. Now I'm telling you this is expectations and probability, not a confirmation, right? So this outcome is just to say that the probability of a particular sector of being in the winning side in a particular week is higher. Historically, this is what data shows up, and it could continue showing up or it could also show adverse, but this is purely putting in the probabilities and showcasing the probabilities to you. What about the pharma sector? I think we have the pharma sector covered. I would not be putting out or saying any particular recommendations about pharma sector. Yes, I have put out the pharma sector being one of the major constituents of the market. We have pharma sector included in our report, and the numbers are there. As it says that pharma has a 40% win ratio, but it has been planned. But this is in comparison to the whole market. Standalone as a pharma sector, I would not be able to give out or say would the market perform, would it perform better or bad, uh, compliance issues, various other factors into consideration. Sam, I see there's a question. No, we do not consider implied volatility on this. This is just the pure volatility. This is just the pure returns. A close to close returns is what we are looking at. As we there now for another 60 seconds. If no questions, we would close the session. We're waiting for another 60 seconds. Feel free to put in any other questions that you have. 10 years trending report. Ramdas, what would you imply by 10 years trending report? If you could just get in a bit of more detail on that. So Anand, sector-wise move and stock-wise momentum. So that is what we have put up. What you see out here is the sector-wise distribution out here, right? It is each and every sector mentioned with their winning ratio, with their average returns, best returns, worst returns. And the top sectors, here is the momentum that is had. So basically, the week to week return is what we've considered. Ramdas, I'm unmuting you. Would like to have a better understanding from you because if we have not, we do not have it, maybe we can incorporate that report or get a report of that kind. Give me a minute. Can you unmute Ramdas, please? Ramdas, you've been given the, yeah. Ramdas, you can unmute and speak. You've been given the access or rights to unmute yourself. Ramdas, are you there? Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah, Ramdas, I can hear you. Please go ahead.
I'm asking that the trending report for last 10 years means one chart where we can see all the week wise that all the sectors. So we can analyze the report. What is the probability much more for that sector like that?
I'm a bit confused out here when you talk about 10 years trending report for a particular week. So you want like a column chart showing you what is the probability and everything, or
Yes, yes, yes. 1 to 52 or 10 years back, then 9 years back, like
okay, you wanted each and every year. That would be too much of data to fit into one chart. I'll be honestly, that is what we tried first. It gets too cluttered.
okay, okay.
So you want to, I understood. So week 34, 2014, what was the return? Week 34, 2015, what was the return? That kind of thing, right? For each sector. That gets very cluttered. That I trust me, that is what we started with first. You would not be able to understand, get the gist of it clarity. It gets too cluttered. That's the reason we put it as a heat map with the probability.
Okay.
Right. So guys, that's all the time that we have for now. Right. Thank you for your participation. Please look out this space for more such reports, more such informatics that is there. I will be dropping an email address within the YouTube live link so that in future, if you have any suggestions or you want us to take up some kind of quantitative study for your understanding, we would be looking forward for suggestions like this.
Yeah, so I hope that was informative. And if at all you people want some time to go through the report to understand it, then we also have a webinar tomorrow. You can download the report today. Tomorrow it's a expiry webinar, but you can download your reports today. We'll be more than happy to help you out understanding the report. So and also these reports are going to be, ये जो reports हैं आपको हर week आते रहेंगे. So हम लोग आपको suggest करेंगे कि please download these reports, please go through these reports. These are quant based and something probably we are the only ones probably doing it. So it is a kind of a unique report, unlike the regular stuff that you guys read. But
Yeah, again, I can tell you where Karan comes from. Karan is a part of the team which generates this report, and there's really some hard work going into it. I would encourage you guys to look into this report, guys.
so thank you.
Thank you for your
Thank you for
time.
joining
Thanks a
us.
lot. See
Yeah.
you again.